It's Monday of Holy Week. It was on this day that it appears from the Gospel according to Mark that Jesus went into the temple and cleansed the temple by turning over the tables that were being occupied by the money exchangers and those that were selling the sacrifices. But before we get to that point, according to Mark's Gospel, we see Jesus leaving the town of Bethany to go to Jerusalem, and he's hungry whenever he leaves. In his journey there, he finds or sees a fig tree in leaf, and he goes over to find if there's any fruit in it. Now, to say that the fig tree was in leaf is not the idea of it budding like some of the trees that we have right now. Instead, it was that the leaves were fully out, which oftentimes means that the fruit should be on the tree. But Jesus went to that tree and did not find it with any fruit on it. Thereby he cursed the tree, and that seems out of character for Jesus. Then he and his disciples turned and headed on the road to Jerusalem. Let's take a walk. Now at this point you might be thinking that the disciples would be quoting the Snickers commercial, "Here, have a Snickers, Jesus. You're not yourself when you're hungry." But remember two things. One, hunger is not an uncommon experience or a foreign experience for Jesus. And two, everything that Jesus does is with a purpose. During his time, the people were required to exchange their money to offer gifts in the temple. And this was then used to actually line the pockets of the religious elite. The people who were supposed to be leading the people in worship of God and helping them draw near to God were actually pushing the people away and lining their pockets in the process. Now, earlier in the Gospels, we see the temptation of Jesus, in which he quotes Deuteronomy chapter 8, saying, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out from the mouth of God." Now, if we import that statement into this situation of being kept from worship, then we find that Jesus is calling the leaders to help the people have a relationship with God, not keep them away. Here in cleansing the temple, he says, "It is written that my house shall be called a house of prayer, but you have made it into a den of thieves and robbers." Jesus cursing the tree was representative of the fact that the activities of the temple should have been producing spiritual fruit. It looked like a place of worship from the outside. But when it came down to it, when you looked at the place, it wasn't benefiting anyone. When you look at your worship and the way you talk about God to other people, is it keeping them away or is it drawing them near to him? The world does need to know that we worship and serve a holy God who indeed will punish sin. However, the world also needs to know that this holy God who will indeed punish sin also is the one who offered up the only sacrifice capable of atoning for our sins so that we might come near to him. Today, what does your worship look like? How are you helping others come? Are you producing fruit?